Hello everyone and Happy New Year! It's my first video of 2025, but right now we are still in 2024. But I will try to upload the video on the 1st of January for the new year. So Happy New Year! Don't mind my fingers, they are slightly pink. My face is also slightly pink because I dyed my hair yesterday and there was some hair dye a bit everywhere, so don't mind that, and it's gonna be the same for the 3 next videos because I'm gonna record them all right now. Anyway, so what a better way to start the year than with some negativity. So we're gonna talk about my worst read of 2024 at the very beginning of the year, so that we will put that behind us and we will not talk about those books ever again. So we start with some negativity so that the rest of the year will be full of positivity. I'm smart, I know. So I have 5 books I'm going to talk about today, and I'm gonna take my reading journal with me because 3 of those 5 books I don't have them in physical copy, I have them in digital copy. So I'm gonna do from best to worst. So the best, the least bad, you can say, is Miss You by Kate Eberlin. So we follow Tess and Gus, and each of them have some difficulties in their life. Like Gus' brother died and Tess's mother died. So at first I thought it was gonna be a romance because we have 2 POV and stuff. But then we learned that his brother died and her mother died, so I was like, oh, okay, so it's gonna be a book about grief. And then the 2 characters get into relationships, not with each other, but with different people. And then at some point, everyone starts cheating with everyone. Also, I didn't mention it, but I rated the book 2.5 stars. Which is not that bad, because I didn't read that many bad books this year, but I had to do a top 5. So as I was saying, everyone started cheating on everyone for no fucking reason. Like Gus was with a girl for 6 years and he cheated on her, and then the girl he cheated with got pregnant, so he left his girlfriend to marry that girl and have children with her. That's low-key a spoil, but I don't care because I don't like the book. Anyway, and then Tess, her boyfriend cheated on her with her best friend, and then at some point she has an affair with a married man. Gus's parents break up because he cheated on her. Everybody's a fucking cheater in this book, and I hated it. And at the end of the book, Tess and Gus meet and they get together very, very fucking quickly. It was very underwhelming as a book, and I just did not enjoy it as much as I would have liked to enjoy it. I listened to it on audiobook, and at some point I would put the audiobook like the speed times 2 because I just wanted to get through it and to finish the book, which is a sign that it's not a good book, that it's not a book that I like. So that's that for this book. Honestly, I don't know what else to say because I finished it like 2 days ago and it's still a bit fresh, so I don't have much, I don't know how to say in English, but you get me. I didn't think of it much, but that's my opinion, like right after finishing it, and it's a 2.5 stars. So yeah. And also, there was not a single character that I liked in that book. Maybe I liked Tess a bit because she was the least bad out of everyone. And also, Gus's mother is an alcoholic, and you know, it's a struggle. Like, we don't have to, like, we just don't judge people who struggle with alcohol. But at some point she has to take care of Gus's children, and she puts vodka in their drinks, and she watches them while being drunk. Next one I don't have in physical is Red, White and Royal Blue, that I rated 2.25 out of 5 stars. Let me get my page in my little reading journal. So, let me read you what I wrote. Way too many sex scenes. That was an issue. I hated that, especially as an audiobook. Because when I read a sex scene, most of the time I cringe. But in an audiobook, help. The dialogues were way too unrealistic. The characters acted in a way no one would. Too many conversations through text. Or maybe it felt long because of the audio. Because, you know, in the audiobook, every time there was a text, the reader would read like who sent the message, the subject of the message, the date, the time and stuff. So maybe that's why it felt too much to me. Because I think it would have been easier to read that as a physical book, but I listened to it. So that's my issue with it. Maybe I would have liked the book more if it was dual POV or just Henry, because I feel like it would have been way more interesting to have Henry's POV, but we only had Alex. Yeah. Because Henry seemed way more self-conscious about stuff. And so I think it would have been super interesting to have his POV, but we didn't. It felt too much like a fanfiction, which is honestly, I mean, what do you expect from a book like that? It's not the worst thing about the book. Like, I like sometimes a book that feels like a fanfiction. In my opinion, it was not enough politically focused. It's like it didn't matter and impact the story except for the small moment Henry was concerned and cried, which is why I think the book would have been better from his POV and thoughts. Alex just wanted dick. That's a pretty good summary if you want my opinion. Alex just wanted dick. And yeah, there's just too many sex scenes and sexual innuendo and sexual tension and sexual stuff. Because, I mean, it is the son of the American president and the future, like the Prince of Wales. So I would have liked it if there was more political conflict. I watched the movie and the movie was great. The movie did what the book couldn't do. And it's rare that I like a movie more than a book. So, what else can I say? It should have been from Henry's POV. That's all. Next, Unhinged by Octavia Grant. Let me read you what I wrote. 84 pages of horror because it was a collection of horrific short stories, and it was only 84 pages, so really short stories. But there was sex almost in every pages. I hated that. I don't know why everyone feels the need to put sex everywhere. Like sometimes it has a purpose, but most of the time it doesn't. Like in this book, it was horrific short stories. I was there to be scared, not horny. So I don't know why, and it was 84 pages and like there was sex almost through all of it. So it was just so annoying. It's unfortunate because some stories were good, some couldn't be saved. See how sex can ruin a book? And ends up with 2 stars on my worst read of the year. Honestly, the writing wasn't all that great, and I don't think it would have gotten a very high ranking, but definitely would have been better without all the sex. Like, I don't say like remove all of it, because I think like 1 or 2 stories it's okay if there is sex, but like not all of them, please. Next one. I have 2 books at 0.5 stars and I don't know which one to talk about first. So I'm going to talk about the first one I read like in chronological order. And so it is A Good Rush of Blood by Matt Phillips. So it's a story about a girl who is a drug dealer, and then one day her mother is convinced of murder, but she is convinced that she didn't do anything. So she's gonna like turn into Sherlock Holmes to try and prove that her mother is innocent. Let me read you what I wrote. I've never read a book as bad as this. It seemed interesting at first, and the plot twist was a good idea. I don't remember the plot twist. But it was executed so poorly and the writing was awful, it took me off. Every character is basically the same, which is pretty unrealistic. They all talk the same, speech filled with shit and fucking. And I get it, it makes sense, they speak like that, but it was just way too much. Like, realistically, people use the shit and fuck in their sentences. But it felt like it was half of the dialogues and half of the thoughts. Like, there was those words every fucking where. It was peak sexism, sexualized women, slut-shaming, lesbian just to fulfill a weird straight man's phantasm. The gay character was even more cliché. I think this book was trying to include LGBT people to be more inclusive, but it failed. There is a gay character who feels way too cliché to be real, and there was a lesbian subplot which felt very weird and awkward, and I felt cringe by it because there was nothing behind it. It was just to satisfy men, I guess. Every decision Creeley made, Creeley is the main character, did not make any damn sense. She knows how dangerous animal her boss is. She betrays him. She had to seduce Monty, a policeman. She went back, apologized, and said she was a drug dealer to a cop. She said to a cop she was a drug dealer. It was painful to get through the book. I'm glad it was a giveaway and I did not have to buy it. Now I have another offer to avoid at all costs. Matt Phillips, I am sorry, but I will never read one of your books again. And I don't even have to make a real review because I said everything I had to say by just reading what I wrote. So this book was awful and it was a pain to get through, but I did it. I read it entirely. It was a lot. And if you want one advice from me, do not read it. Because like Miss You and Red, White and Royal Blue, I can see why people would like it. So I'm not saying do not read those. Read them if you want. You can take it as recommendations. But A Good Rush of Blood, unless you are a cis, heterosexual, white man, privileged, don't read it. Because you're gonna be mad. You're gonna end up angry at the book. And I ended up angry. I was mad. Every time I read it, like I read a few pages or chapters, I was mad. So do not read it. And finally, with also a rating of 0.5, Twisted Love. I'm gonna read to you what I wrote as well. And also, by the way, where is it? I did such a pretty page for this book. It is so coquette. Very pretty. For a book that I rated 0.5 stars. Anyway. One of the worst books I've ever read. Right there. At first it was just cliché cringy, but Alex is way too possessive from the beginning with no reason. The story sucked. It was not realistic and toxic. It is clearly some dark romance sold as romance, and it pisses me off because it romanticizes toxic ass behavior, especially the ending. It's a literal stalker and harasses her, but she still goes for him and forgives him. Also, the whole murder plot sucked, the plot twist sucked, and the FBI part was way too much. The sex parts were cringe and unrealistic. Only good thing about this book is Josh. And I hated everything and regret having some weak moments for Alex, because sometimes I felt compassion for him. Because he went through some shit. It just made me fucking mad and annoyed. It was a shitty book and the other ones better be fucking better than this crap. I had no expectations, but it was still fucking bad. You can tell that I was mad when I wrote that. My god, I was pissed. But yeah, this is sold as a romance. But it is clearly dark romance. You cannot convince me otherwise. The other book in the series, I am currently reading Twisted Games, and it seemed so much better already. But this is clearly some dark romance disguised as just romance, because it's just too much. And Alex is toxic. You know, sometimes a little toxicity in characters is not bad, because at the end of the day they are not real. So we can like a toxic character. But him, it was way too much, way too annoying. Just too much overall. Like, dude, please shut up. Shut up and go back from where you come from and do not come back ever. And Ava, this bitch. Okay, don't get me wrong, I like her. She's nice, she's sweet and stuff, but she forgives him way too easily and she goes back to him way too easily. Like, girl, have some standards, please. Shit. I was so mad. You know, when I read it, I was annotating it. And at the end, I was pissed. I don't think you can see it well, but here you can. And there's a hole in my book. Because I was so mad. I hated that shit. Anyway. So, I think we're gonna stop there and before I get more mad. I hope you guys enjoyed the video and I hope it made you laugh a bit to see me so mad. And to see me talk about shitty books. We're done for now and I hope 2025 will only have good books. I pray. I hope. Please. Or at least no book as bad as Twisted Love and A Good Rush of Blood. I hope it's gonna be a great reading year. And I will see you guys in the next video that I'm going to record right now. Bye!